with this video I'm going to show you some really good hip mobility exercises. It's especially important if you've got some hip stretching kind of mobilization exercises that I'll give you them for your warm-ups. The looser, more mobile your hips are, the less strain gets placed on the knees, the less strain gets placed on the lower back, especially when you're kind of pushing yourself, kind of lifting heavier weights. So the idea is basically to get your hip joints like ball and socket, and it's got huge amount, or it should have huge amount of movement, but it can stiffen up and tighten up. Basically the joint gets kind of pulled closer together, so you can't move it as much. And what we want to do is kind of coax it out and kind of loosen it and get more kind of pliable and looser. And we do that by foam rolling, getting balls in, kind of that'll loosen out the muscles, and then start actually kind of mobilising and loosening the hips a little bit. So to kind of advance some of your stuff on, I'm going to give you this kind of great little hip opener sequence that you can do. And depending on the tightness of your hips will depend on how much movement you can get through it, but the idea is to keep doing it. If you do it regularly, maybe 3 or 4 times a week for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to see a huge difference in how loose your hips feel. So basically starting off with is we kind of get into our kind of like half kneeling position, 90-degree bend in kind of both knees, and then kind of bring the hands down and level with the kind of toe of the front foot. Now you do it with your kind of closer hands, so it's my right hand and my right foot. Kind of anchor the foot down so it doesn't roll over. And what we're going to try and do is just kind of prise your elbow into your knee, prise your knee out. Just kind of pushing out like so, okay? Ideally you're trying to get the movement done in the hip, and at the moment there's very little movement in the rest of the body and kind of the rest of the back. So you're just kind of pushing the knee out, just coaxing it out, maybe 10-15 times. More to do with kind of how you feel. You feel it getting looser and kind of a little bit more kind of bouncier through the hip. So once you've done that, what we're going to do is then turn towards the knee, and now we're going to start to kind of move the body. So I'm kind of sliding my hips over to the right and back, hips over to the right and back. Now I'm going to anchor my foot so I don't start turning my foot out, because it'll give a false sense of movement. So anchor the foot and then just pushing out and back while turning and almost looking over that right shoulder. You kind of imagine your belly button. I'm trying to really turn my belly button and face it towards my inner thigh. I kind of get it as pointy towards my inner thigh as much as I can. So I'm kind of starting to kind of just move through it a little bit. So kind of like maybe kind of semicircular shapes and pushing the knee over and out, searching for the restriction and tighter areas. Once I've done about 10 or 15 there, maybe a little bit more, I'm going to kind of step the hand out here, my left hand out, turn away from the foot, put my hand on the inside of my knee and push that away. So I'm kind of twisting my body away, pushing the knee away, locking out my elbow, and then I'm going to kind of move through it a little bit more and kind of sink down into my hip, keeping the knee pushed away. Again, looking behind that left shoulder, belly button turns away from the right leg. And again, kind of exploring around the different areas, looking for where it feels a little bit tight and restricted into it. All the time I want to breathe deeply while you're doing it as well. Just try and relax the breath, deep breaths in and out while you're doing it. So, from here then, now, depending on how tight you are, if you felt that pretty kind of tight and restrictive on you, I can probably just do that to start off with, but you can just basically let your foot collapse over like so. So I'm right on my ankle on the very top, I'm not even on the edge of my foot anymore, kind of right over, leaning my weight on my right arm, and depends again on flexibility in your hip here. So a lot of the weight's on my right arm here, so it kind of takes the pressure off the hip, whereas if I was back here, you can see that knee is pulling up and I can feel too much in my right hip. So down into this position, and from here, and again, just breathing through it. Again, it's going to feel a very deep kind of movement, deep stretch in there, so breathe through it, do what you can, and then we're going to turn towards the right again, belly button over towards the right. Again, kind of just lean into the hip, kind of get a stretch and come back out, and try and move through it. See the knee comes forward and back. And again, twisting, turning, looking behind the right shoulder, belly button towards the right knee or the kind of inside of the right thigh. And then this one, kind of probably the kind of most aggressive one, lean onto my left hand, turn away from it, and you can start moving through it, or even harder, right hand onto the knee, push that away. And again, try to just move through the hip, feel it kind of stretch and release it, stretch it and release it, and immobilising. Might even feel a little bit on the back leg as well as you're stretching that out. And then once you've done that, it can be kind of a little bit stiff initially to start off with, because you kind of really opened it up and worked it. And just drop down onto the knee, come back up onto the other side, hands down, and we'll go again. So,
prising the knee open, breathing deeply through it, turn towards the knee, belly button towards the inside of the thigh. Turning away, left hand on the inside of the left knee, pushing away, just lean into the left hip, move through it, and then we just allow the knee to come over, walk the hands over so you're kind of leaning a lot of your weight onto the left arm, take the weight off your left leg, and again though, I'm kind of really kind of over on my ankle more so than staying kind of high up here on my foot, so use the support of your upper body, turn towards the knee. And then we're going to turn away for the last one. So again, you can just turn away without the hand first. Again, belly button, turning as far away as I can. Just working through the hip. And then just gently walk yourself over, allow the knee to come back. Generally drop down onto the knee you've just worked. Bring the other foot forward and then stand yourself up from there. Try it out, let me know how it goes.